Yoshafat ben Asa Melech al Yehuda. Bishnat Arba la'achav Melech Yisrael. Yoshafat ben Shloshim v'chamesh shana v'malcho v'esrim v'chamesh shana Malach b'Yerushalayim. Shem imo Azuva bat Shochi. V'elech v'chal derech asa aviv lo sar memenu lasota yashar b'nei Hashem. So now we're up to Mem Gimel. Pasuk Mem Gimel. Per Kaf Beit Pasuk Mem Gimel. So he went in the ways of Asa, his father. He didn't go away from him to do the yashar, do what was straight in the eyes of Hashem. So he tried to continue all the good things that Asa did. Asa did a lot of tikkunim, and Yoshafat tried to continue with that and complete it as much as he could. Achabamot lo saru od achabamot lo saru od am bezabchim makatrim bebamot. Only things that he didn't do, two things he didn't do good was he didn't remove the bamot from Yehuda. That's where people are doing their personal sacrifices, and after you have a Beis Hamikdash, that's not allowed anymore. People kept doing it; they were very attached to this, and he didn't stop them. And I saw a parish, why didn't he? Because he's afraid if he'd stop them from doing that, they would go over to Yisrael and they would start doing Avodah Zarah Mamish. So better, you should leave him here doing Bamot, then they should go to with Achav. And nevertheless, the Torah is rebuking him for it. Seems like maybe it wasn't the right decision. That was his cheshbon. You should stop him from doing Averis, even whatever. You don't know what's going to happen next. Okay, and for second thing he did wrong was V'yashlem Yoshafat im Melech Yisrael. Second thing he did wrong is he made peace with the Melech Yisrael, and that was bad. Turns out, so it's interesting. The problem is, and this is spelled out in Divrei Yamim. It's not spelled over here. We'll get there, Mitzvah Shem. But it says so. Farish. The pasuk says that he was, as soon as he started to be mitchaver to Achaziyahu, the son of Achav, so then Hashem started to foil his ways, make him unsuccessful, because that was a mistake. He was mitchaver to a Russia. When you join up with the Russia, then you'll fail. So that's what happened. That's what Yoshafat did. I saw a big discussion on this in the Rav Mali. He says it's interesting that David Melech was like that also. This is Yoshafat, the descendant of David Melech from Shevet Yehuda, and David Melech worked really hard to make shalom. And even when the people came, he came with all the different players over there. Some of them were against them, and came over to his side just now. And he was looking to be mashlim with everyone. He was very working hard on shalom. So Yoshafat went in his way, but sometimes you have to know where the limit is, and he was dealing with a big Russia, Achaziyahu, who was the son of Achav and Izebel, right? And so he made a mistake by being mishtatef with him. Okay, so we'll see that as it goes. V'yeter divrei Yoshafat gvorato asher asa asher nocham Elohim ktuvim al Sefer divrei Yamim l'Malch Yisrael. V'yeter akadesh shenishar bimei asa aviv bi'er min haaretz. The rest of the pritzut, the harlotry that was filling the land, he got rid of also. So he was great, Yoshafat. Umelech ein ba'edom nitzav melech. Meanwhile, in Edom there was no king. There was nitzav melech. There was a representative of the king, because basically Israel had captured Edom, and so the representatives of Israel were in Edom. Different in Mefarshim when that was. According to the Malbim, it was in the times of Yoshafat himself.
When they captured Edom?
Yeah, according to Rashi, it was way before. I'm not sure. Not clear. Okay. Yoshafat asa aniyot Tarshish, Melechet Ofira, L'Zahav, V'lo halach ki nishbaru aniyot Bet Yon Gaver. So Yoshafat, he made ships. Aniyot Tarshish, it's a type of ship like the ways of, like Aniyot Tarshish, and to go to Ofira for Zahav, to go get gold. And he didn't go, and before he left, the ships broke. Bet Yon Gaver. So things started to go bad for Yoshafat, because he was It's sort of like mixed to have the order here, but because he was mitchaver to the Russia, things started to not work out for him. So his ships got broken. I guess maybe, I don't know how, maybe there was storms, while they were docked and they got smashed. Anyway, he wanted to make this trade. It didn't work. The ships got broken. Az Amar Achaziyahu ben Achav Shafat Yahu Avadai im Avadecha Baniyot Zava Yoshafat. Then what happens was that Achiazo, the son of Achav, said to Shaphan, "Okay, I won't go with you, but my servants will go. The servants will go together." So already, it seems like he didn't have mazel because he was joining up with Achaziyahu. So then Achaziyahu said, "Okay, we'll let the servants go together," and he didn't want to. So it seems like he was starting to catch on to his mistake of being mitchaber to Achaziyahu. V'yishkav Yeshafat im avotav, yikaver im avotav, Bir David. Aviv Yimloch Yehoram beno Taktav. So then he passed away, Yehoshaphat, and his son Yehoram ruled instead of him. Achaziyahu ben Achav, Malach Yisrael b'Shomron, Shnat Shva Yisrael Yehoshaphat, Melech Yehuda. V'yimloch Yisrael Shnatayim. Okay, so now Achaziyahu, the son of Achav, was ruling in Shomron, in Yisrael. V'yasar Rabbi Hashem Yelech b'derech Aviv, b'derech Imo, Uvderech Yeravam ben Navat Asher Chti et Yisrael. So in the way of his father, Achav, the way of his mother is Evel. And in the way of Yeravam ben Navat, doing Avodah Zorah, getting other people to Avodah Zorah, messing up. V'yavor et Abal, v'yavor et Abal, v'yishtachav alo, v'yaches et Hashem Elokei Yisrael b'kol Asher Saviv. And he kept serving the Baal and taking Am Yisrael away from Avodah Hashem, like his father did. Okay. Now it goes on. Yifsha Moab Yisrael Akarei Mot Achav. And then after Achav passed away and Achaziyahu took over, then Moab started to rebel against Yisrael. So his mazel is going down. Because what's happening now is also the curse that Achav got is now getting taken out on Achaziyahu. So now they have the representative in Moab. Moab pushes out the representative, starts to rebel against Israel. Stops paying the taxes, etc. Yipol Achaziyahu b'ad zvacha b'alioto asher b'shomron. V'yachal v'yishlach Melachim v'yomer lehem l'chu dirshu b'val zavuv Elohei Aharon im echie mechalizeh. Oh, so what happened now? So again, the mazel of Achaziyahu is going down. He's up in the attic, and he walks by this certain place. He has a freak accident, falls into some kind of a skylight or something like that. Where there's a reshet there, and he falls in. He falls through or something, gets hurt really bad. And it's sort of a strange accident. And so then he sends messengers to go to be Dorish Bal Zavuv. That's another kind of avodah. It's a really bad avodah Zorah. The god of Ekron, if I'm going to live from this or not. They worshipped a fly. The Gemara talks about them having these images of flies. They would have it around their neck and they would kiss it. And the fly is something very tummy. It's when things are rotten and dead, flies come, right? So this is sort of like a death spirit. And you go ask it, are you going to live or die? That's what he was doing. So this is, I don't know what's behind it. This is deep stuff, It's kind of like difficult, deep imaginations happening with death. Reminds me of Hamas, also a death cult also. Strange death cult, right? Okay, going further. So it's like he moved on from Baal to Zavuv. Why did he do that? I don't know exactly. Okay. Malach Hashem diber el Eliyah. Hatishbikum alei likrat malachei melech Shomron dabar alehem. Amabli ein Elohim b'Yisrael. Atem ochim lidrosh v'val zavuv el Ekron. Okay, so now what happened was that Amalek Hashem spoke to Eliyahu. This angel came to speak to Eliyahu, and he said, "Go to meet the messengers of Melech Shomron that they're going to ask the Avodah Zarah of Zavuv, what's the fate of their king? For the Alehem Abli Ein Elokim B'Yisrael, speak to them and say, there's no king in Israel. There's no Elokim in Israel, and you're going to seek out Baal Zavuv Elokei Ekron. So in other words, he was given a mission, Eliyahu, to go and give them rebuke through the messengers. The messengers are going to bring back the message from Ekron, and he comes and tells them. Eliyahu has to come tell them, like, where are you guys going? Like, what's this? We have Hashem, he's our king, he's our ruler, he's our deity. What are you going to ask Zavuv? It's interesting to me that the truth is he wasn't Jewish, this king, because his mother was a Zevel. You know?
She didn't too.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe she was, because it sounds like he's talking to a Jewish king. He says, why are you, it's a question I have on the side. No one mentions this, but it's a question I have.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like he's talking to a Jewish king, but the mother wasn't Jewish. So I don't know. He's saying, why you go serving the foreign gods? We don't have our own gods? What do you mean? He was he was the son of Izebel. So I'm not sure. Maybe she was Migar. I don't know. I had the impression not. It didn't seem like it. She was bringing in the foreign gods all the way. Yeah.
She wanted to kill the prophets.
Yeah. Okay, let's go further. What kind of a ger is that? That's not a ger. So anyway, it was interesting. But still, I guess the fact he is the king of Israel, he's the son of Achav, who was the king. And so yes, that's like king of Israel. I'm not sure. Okay, let's go further. L'chein ko amar Hashem hamita asher alita shamlo tered memena kimo tamud v'elach Eliyah. So he said, therefore, this is what Hashem says, the bed you went up on, you'll not go down from it because you're going to die. So that's what he told the messengers to tell Achaziyahu. Yeshuva Melachim elav Yomer aleim mazeh shavtem. So the Melachim turned around, they came back quickly because they didn't reach the destination. They were stopped by Eliyahu and sent back. So he said, how come you came back? Yomer elav ish ala l'kratenu v'yomer aleinu l'chushuvu el hamelech sheshalach etchem v'dibartem elav komar Hashem li ein Elokim Yisrael atem shalech lidrosh b'Baal Zavuv Elokei Ekron l'chein amita asher alita sham lo tered memena kimot tamut. It's repetitive here. Basically, they say over what he told them to say. Right? They're saying over the prophecy that Eliyahu told them to say, or the content of it. That because you're not sending out, if you want prophecy, go to a Jewish prophet. If you want to find out what's going on, talk to Hashem. Instead, you're going to Avodah Zarah, and therefore you're going to die. Just a side point, something from Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman says that people should know that doctors don't heal. And medicine doesn't heal. If people think that medicine heals and doctors heal, then that's wrong, because they don't. So you should know what only heals is Hashem, and we always have to pray. It doesn't mean if you could go to a doctor, but first daven. You said it. If people put their trust in doctors, it's almost like this, Why are you going to use these methods that are we have Hashem in the world. When we have a problem, we have to go to Hashem. We have to always pray to Hashem. Just a side point. Obviously this is worse. They're going to Avodah Zarah. But it's the same idea. It's almost the same idea. Like if you think that doctors are the cure, then you're wrong. They're not. Go to a doctor, maybe you'll succeed, maybe not. Hashem is behind everything. You have to daven to Hashem. And the doctor is just the externalities. Go to a good doctor. You want a doctor to work with nature and everything, but behind everything is Hashem's decisions. I saw Rav Kashtiel, he's talking about, he had all this asking these students, he's speaking to these non-firm students, he asked them who they respect. So he said, we respect the scientists. He said, you respect the scientists? Really? What's their name? Like, do you know anything about their lives? Who are they? Like, why do you respect them? They don't know their name, they just respect them. It's very interesting. Anyway, the scientists. See, that's who they respect. Yeah, okay. Going further. So this is a going thing, Zavuv, Baal Zavuv. So he says, because you're going to that, you're not going to Hashem, so therefore you're going to die. V'daber alehem ma mishpat ish asher Allah lekratchem. So Achaziyahu said to them, what was he like? This fellow that you met. V'daber alechem dvar me'eleh. And he spoke to you these things. V'yomer elav ish bal se'ar ve'ezor or azor b'matnav. V'yomer eliyah hatishbihu. They said he's a person with a lot of hair, long hair. And he has a belt made of skin, leather, that's over his hips, yeah. And he said, I know who that is. That's Eliyahu Navi. The Shulchan had never seen Eliyahu because Eliyahu never came in there to talk to the Melech Russia, which is not the usual situation, but that's the situation now. But he knew who he was. Achaziyahu knew who he was, and the Shulchan didn't. So that's who he was. What's the thing with long hair and the belt? He talks about this Kabbalistic stuff. Long hair has to do with gevura, strength. That's what he says. And the belt has to do with kedusha. Like dividing between the upper part of the body, the lower part of the body. Like I don't know. Okay. Anyway, v'yishlach elav, like Shimshon. Shimshon had long hair also. Yeah, he was strong. Yeah. Yishlach elav sar chamishim v'chamishav. V'yar elav hinei yoshev al rosh hahar v'daber elav ish Elokim hamelach diber reda. So Achaziyahu sent the head of the 50 and his 50 men, like leader of 50 men with 50 men. V'yar elav, and they came up to where Eliyahu was, Har Carmel. V'nei yoshev al rosh hahar. And he spoke, and he said to him, so this head of the Chamishim said to Eliyahu, Ish Elokim hamelach diber reda. Man of God, the king says, come down. Very brazen. Like the king's telling him what to do. V'yaneh Eliyahu, v'daber el sar chamishim. V'im ish Elokim ani, tered eish min hashemayim v'tokal otcha v'tchamishecha, tered eish min hashemayim v'tokal oto v'tchamishav. So he says, if I'm an Eish Elokim, so you're calling me an Eish Elokim, so that means that you should be respectful. You can't speak to me like that. And therefore, it comes down, so then the fire will come down from heaven and consume all of you. And that's what happened. V'yashav yishlach elav sar chamishim acher v'chamishav v'yan v'daber elav. Okay, then he sent, so then they can come back. So Achaziyahu sends another 50 with their leader. And v'daber elav, he said like this. So the Sar Chamishim said to Eliyahu, Ish Elokim, Ko Amar Melech, Meira Reda. This is what the king says. Quickly come down. He says it in a more slightly more respectful tone. Not very respectful, but not quite as commanding. So this is what the king says. So it's not too clear here. That I didn't get a lot of things are not clear in this story. Like, did they know what happened before or not? I think they did. I'm not sure. So he says, okay, whatever. So it sounded maybe they knew what happened. So he decided that was supposed to be more respectful. It was a little more respectful. And then he says like this also. Who says this? I forget who. I think the Ramah Valley says, V'yan Eliyahu. V'yan means he lifted up his voice. It means this time only the head went up and all the other ones stayed down because they were scared. V'yan Eliyahu. So they knew, yeah. V'yan Eliyahu v'yidaber alehem im ish Elokim ani tered eish min hashemayim tochal otcha v'tchamishecha v'tered eish Elokim min hashemayim but tochal oto v'tchamishecha. If I'm an ish Elokim, so what are you telling me what to do? Like, who are you? And Eish is going to come and burn you guys up. That's what happened. Okay. And it came all the way down. They weren't far enough to get away from the Eish of Eliyahu. So it went down to the bottom of the mountain and consumed them over there. V'yashav yishlach sar chamishim shlishim. So he went and he sent a third set of 50s with their leader, Shishim v'chamishav. In other words, a third set with a third set of 50. V'yal v'yavo sar chamishim hashishi v'yakra al birkav. So he was terrified. He came in and he bowed down on his knees. L'neged Eliyahu. V'yitchanen elav, and he beseeched him. V'daber elav, ish Elokim tikarna nafshi v'nefesh avadecha elech hamishim beinecha. He said, Ish Elokim, please let it be precious in your eyes, my soul, and the souls of your servants, these 50 people. Hine yarda esh mishmaim v'tuchal et shnei sarei chamishim arishonim. Behold, a Aish came down and consumed the other ones. V'tchabishehem, the leaders and their followers. V'ata tikar nafshi beinecha, and please let me be precious in your eyes. Don't burn me up, and don't turn me away also, because if I have to go back, I'll get killed by Achaziyahu. V'yadaber malach Hashem el Eliyahu, reid oto al tira mipanav, v'yakam v'yered oto el melech. So then what happens, the malach speaks to Eliyahu and says, go with him, don't be afraid of him. And he went to the melech. So it seems like Eliyahu was afraid to go at the beginning. And he didn't want to go, and he didn't trust Achaziyahu. He didn't want to go. But now when he was told with a specific tzivoy, a command to go from Hashem, so now he's going b'shtichut Hashem. So now he's confident. That's what I think the Malbim says. Also, they started speaking to him like respectfully, so it seems that makes a difference also. V'daber lav ko amar Hashem yan asher shalachta malachim l'drosh b'val zavuv Elohei Akron Amabli Ein Elokim B'Yisrael L'Drosh B'Dvaro L'Chein Amita Sher Alita Sham Lo Tered Memena Kimot Temut. So he said a third time he has this. He tells him in his face this prophecy, because you think there's no Hashem in Yisrael. You're going to be Dosh B'Zavuv. Therefore, you're not going to get up from your bed. Yamat B'Dvar Hashem Shediber Eliyahu Yimloch Yehoram Tachtav B'Shnat Shtaim Yehoram Ben Yeshafat Melech Yehuda, Ki lo haya lo ben. And then Yehoram was his brother. He ruled after him. In the second year of Yehoram ben Yehoshaphat. See, it's confusing here. Yehoram is the son of Yehoshaphat. And also there's another Yehoram. He's the brother of Achaziyahu.
They're reigning at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. V'yetu divrei Achaziyahu.
There's two.
There's two Yeorams.
One is
the king of Israel, one is the king of Judah.
at the same time?
Yeah. In the second year of Yoram ben Yoshua, that's when he started to rule. Yoram, the brother of Achaziyahu. V'yetu divrei Achaziyahu, Sherasa Halohem Ketuvim al Sefer divrei Yamim Malch Yisrael. Okay, that's the story there. What do we learn from this story? Don't start up with a Navi. Also, I told you Rabbi Nachman's story. I think you have to seek Hashem, everything. Daven to Hashem. Don't trust in anything else. You make hishtadlus. We work with nature. We use our natural logic. We see things work through nature. Usually, we have to do that also. We have to know that's not really what's happening. And the bottom line is what Hashem wants. Okay, Perak Bet. Sefer Bet. Second Sefer, Melachim Bet now. Okay, here we go. Perak Aleph. V'yibalot Hashem et Eliyahu basara Hashemayim v'elech Eliyahu v'Elisha min Gilgal. Okay, now here's going to be the Petira of, it's not the Petira, the Exodus of Eliyahu Navi. It's a very deep, mysterious parsha. And I'm working hard to try to get a mahalach here. I'm going to do my best. I'm telling you things I saw from the Malbim, from Ramad Valley, and it's a little confusing. There's a lot of Perushim here, a lot of things going on. Hashem Azor, that shouldn't mess up. So it was when Eliyahu went in a storm to heaven. Something unusual happened. Every person until now died a natural death, till now. Eliyahu doesn't die a natural death. He doesn't really die like a normal person, or even like Moshe Rabbeinu or Aharon, anyone else. They all died. It says they died. But Eliyahu didn't. He left this world and came back and forth as something unusual. Okay. So here's the story. Yomi Eliyahu, Elisha. Shevna po, ki Hashem shalachani. So Eliyahu said to Elisha, stay here, ki Hashem sent me. Ad Beit El. Yomi Elisha, chai Hashem, v'chei nafshecha, im ezveka, v'yardu Beit El. So Eliyahu told Elisha not to come, because I'm going on a special mission to Beit El. And Elisha said, no, I made a shua, I'm not going to leave you. So it turns out they both knew what was going to happen now. Eliyahu was leaving the world, and he didn't want Elisha to be there, apparently. One shot is that he wanted everything to be, he was very humble, and he wanted not to have things to be public. He wanted things to be hidden. And there was going to be this amazing event happen, and he didn't want anyone to see it necessarily. That's one shot. I thought another shot is, this is very interesting, he was testing him. It was a big moment, and this is Ramat says this. He says, if he's really davuk to him, if Elisha is really connected, he was his main student, and if he's really connected to him deeply, he won't want to be there when he passes away. Like he wants to be with him all the way. And so Eliyahu was testing him, telling him don't come. And Elisha passes the test. He says, no, I'm coming. That's what my voice is. That's what it sounds like. And it needs more explanation, but that's the story according to Ramad. V'yetzu v'nei anavim asher Beit El, Elisha v'yomer lav. Yadati ki hayom Hashem lokeach et aronecha me'al roshecha, v'yomer gamani yadati hecheshu. So they went to Beit El. And the Nevi'im came out. They went outside of Beit El. It says in the Malbim that they didn't go inside because there was a golden calf was still there. Place of Avodah Zarah. So they came out. He didn't go in, they came out. And they said to Elisha, do you know that Hashem is taking away your master from you and today? And they said, yeah, I know that. So all the Nevi'im know, Eliyahu knew, and all the Talmidim also knew that Eliyahu was leaving the world today. And he said, I knew, and I want you to be quiet about this. It has to be quiet. Why does it have to be quiet? I don't know. It has something to do with also, like we said, like modesty. Things are better when they're not public. The Gemara says that there were 2 times the Torah was given to Har Sinai. First time it was Kol Sabrakim, with thunder and lightning and voices. And the second time it was quieter. The second Luchos came down quietly. And those are the ones that stayed. Things that are quiet, they're hidden, they stay better. Things that are advertised, that could be a problem. We want to keep things very humble and hidden. Okay. Although at the same time you want to give things over. This is what... Okay, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. V'yomer lo. V'yomer lo Eliyahu, Elisha, Shevna po, ki Hashem shalchani Yericho. V'yomer chai Hashem, v'chei nafshecha, ki em ezveka v'yavo Yericho. So he said, okay, you stay here, Elisha, I'm going to Yericho. He said, no, I'm not going to leave. I'm coming with you. V'yikshu b'nei nevim, sheb Yericho, Elisha. V'melav yadati ki hayom Hashem lokech et aronecha me'al roshecha, v'yomer gam ani yadati hecheshu. Same thing. They also knew that Eliyahu was going to leave the world, and they told Elisha, do you know that? And he said, yeah, I know that also. I want everyone to be quiet about this. Okay, now question first. Where was Eliyahu going? Why did he go first to Beit El, and the prophets came out to meet him, and then he went to Yericho, and the prophets met him there, in Yericho?
He's leaving the land.
Okay, but why is he going those places?
He's leaving the land.
He's leaving at Tisra. So that's the route. Okay, that's interesting. Just say that. So why do you have to mention these places?
They started in Gilgal.
They started in Gilgal, yeah.
Gilgal.
Gilgal is the place where a lot happened. Yeah.
It's one of the first places Yeshua set up camp, I think.
Yeah.
From Gilgal. North, south, middle.
Across the Jordan, I think.
Close to Jordan.
It's complicated, but but it's where they put the okay. But the point is like this: what's he going to the two places for? And what's this story with the Nevi'im coming out and Elisha coming after him? Right, that's a question. Okay, let's go further. We'll talk about it. V'yomer lo Eliyahu, Shevna po Kishem Shalchani Ardena. And then Eliyahu said to them, okay, now stay here. They passed through Yericho, and now he's going to the Yarden. So he says, okay, you stay here, I'm going to the Yarden. So I'm not leaving you, I'm going with you to the Yarden. And 50 of the men from the Bnei Nevi'im, they went and they stood back from afar. And then Eliyahu and Elisha were standing by the Yarden. So other ones were watching. See, there were 50 here. There were 50 and 50 that Avadu hid in the caves, right? The Nevi'im that survived. This is one of the 50s. Okay. V'yikach Eliyahu et adarto v'yiglom v'yakeh et hamayim. So Eliyahu took his cape and he rolled it up. I think it means. I'm not sure about that. I think let's say that he rolled it up and he struck the water. V'yichatzu heina v'heina. V'yavru Eliyahu v'yavru et Yarden. 1 second. V'yavru shnehem b'charava. Sorry. Oh, so Eliyahu took his cape, rolled it up, struck the water, the Yarden, and the water split into two sides, and they walked through. V'yavru shnehem b'charava. They walked through in dry land. Eliyahu and Elisha. V'kavram Eliyahu amar el Elisha shalma eselach terem elakech meimach v'yam Elisha pina pishnayim ruchacha elai. So as they passed through the Yarden, he says, ask what you want and I'll do it. Before I'm taken away from you, and Elisha said, I want double of your spirit on me. Okay. So you see here, it sounds like what the Ramad Valley is saying, that the whole time this was a test to see if he was going to cling to him to the very end, and if he was going to get in on the big secrets, big Giluyim over here. And he says, so what do you want from me? What should I grant you in the end? What do you want to come to in the end? He said, I want double of your spirit. Okay, and there's about 4 pshatim what it means, double of your spirit. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. So, he says, you're asking something very strong, hard to do. You're asking something difficult. If you see that I'm taken away from you, in front of your eyes, then you'll get the double of my spirit, and if not, not. Okay. So stopping there. Let's go back and talk about this now. The whole story. So the Malbim says like this. The Malbim says that the nature of a tzaddik, a person like Eliyahu, is that his main thing is his humility and his desire to give. Right? And so that's what characterizes the tzaddikim. And he wants to give over as much influence as he has to others and bring it into this world, his influence, his wisdom, his prophecy, etc. Okay. So Elisha was the biggest town, but it could be the other Tamim didn't know that, but he was the closest, the highest one as far as closest to Eliyahu. And it seems like this is what the Malbim learns it, that he went to Beit El, because he would give it over to all the Nevi'im that were over there. He would give it over his wisdom as he was passing away. It seems like there's this, I'm not sure about all this, but I'm doing my best. It's not too clear. There's ability to give over at this last moment. And so he wants to give to all the Nevi'im over there, maybe, Eliyahu. But Elisha's sticking with him. And then he goes to Yericho, and there's other Nevi'im over there, and they're coming out to greet him, and he wants to see them also, or give to them also. But Elisha sticks with him. They actually are able to watch from afar, at least the second set. What happens is, Elisha is right. I mean, in other words, if you're there at the time of the Patira, at the time of the passing away, when you see this taking place, that Eliyahu is going up to Shemayim, like alive, something unusual, so then it's going to have a great influence on his ability. He'll have a double spirit. So what's the double spirit? So I saw a bunch of pshat. There's a lot of pshatim in this. The one that it seems like simplest is that you will have your spirit and Eliyahu's spirit. They'll both be with him. So we'll have double spirit, mean his and Eliyahu's will be now inside Elisha. That's the double spirit. So in other words, he'll have this double neshama, like this, all this power of what he has, and somehow it'll transfer into him this koach of Eliyahu into him himself. That's the double, the shtei ruchot that he wants. There's a number of other pshatim of this, but let's go with that because it sort of fits. I don't know, it works the easiest. Let's just say with that one. In other words, so if you're there at the time of the pir, so there's something about being there at the time when the person passes away. There's an idea like, the candle burns brightest before it goes out, right? And there's some idea that somehow that's in general, people try to be with a tzaddik at the time he's passing away. There's something very special about that. Maybe they learn it from here, I'm not sure. But so it's like it's a peak experience. You're having a giloy of the soul. It happens a lot. I mean, my mother saw that a little bit also. She started becoming very coherent before she was passed away. You see that. And there's a neshama. It gets stronger before it leaves. So a person experiences that could make a lifetime impact on them. That's what I'm saying in sort of a simple terms. What I try to understand. It's much deeper than this, but also furthermore, there was something very unusual going to happen, and Elisha was able to see that, and other people wouldn't have been able to see it. That's the way it's described also. So, that's one part. Also, another thing I want to say is like this, that the tzaddik wants to be mashpia to everyone. But the way it works is usually the influence goes down through the one who's the greatest, and it goes down through him to the other ones. So that was the discussion over here. Either it was going to be he was going to give over to everyone at once, like sort of Moshe gave to the whole Sanhedrin. You have a similar story with Moshe giving over to the Sanhedrin, and them starting to be prophets and all that, right? And so same thing over here. Eliyahu said, "Okay, I'll give to all the Nevi'im, my spirit. It'll come down to all of them." And Elisha said, "No, it's going to come down through me. I'll be the main one," because he felt that he knew that he was Roy for that, and he wanted to be there. So that's sort of, you could say that's a discussion of what's going on a little bit, in a very vague way. Okay, also another thing like this. Let me tell you about something else interesting for the Malvim also. We've been talking about the four elements. It's not the four elements. Person's made of four elements. Fire, water, air, and earth. So it sounds strange, but it's interesting. In other words, what that means is, one thing it means is that we have all those properties. For example, earth pulls down, it's lazy, it's heavy, It's also humility, it depends on how you use it. It's like everyone steps on. Also, fire goes upwards. Fire is like, it could be like anger, it could be like passion, And then you have waters like desire, like things grow from water. It's with place of pleasure, And air is like speech and things like that. So all these things are mixed into the creation, and a person has all of them. And we saw before when the Malach gave to Eliyahu this special cake, and the Malbim says it didn't have in it any of the element of earth, and so therefore he ate it. He was able to live for 40 days and 40 nights without eating. Okay, so it's sort of like he was already like moving up out of the normal limitations of body, And now what happens now is he's going further out of these limitations, and so you see he comes to the water and he strikes the water and the water parts. So that means that the element of water is moving away. An element of earth had already moved away, or it is apparently. And so now what's left is fire and air, fire and wind. Yeah, so it's interesting, right? So it's because you see that it's talking about all these elements. There's things that are happening. Because he was this place where he was, in his world, he was like getting above the normal limitations of, like, let's say, waterness, right? Like this worldly desires and things like that. So then he could part the waters as well. So then what happens now? Okay, so what happens now? V'hema holchim halok v'daber. So they were walking and they were speaking. Eliyahu and Elisha. V'nei rechev eish v'susei eish. A chariot of eish and horses of eish. Chariot of fire and horses of fire of Yafridu bein shnehem. And they divided between them. Vayal Eliyahu basara hashemayim. Now Eliyahu went in a storm up to heaven. So the way the Malbim understands it is, so the other elements were were separated out. All elements were left were fire and air, and like that, like it's not a normal way of dying. Just sort of like separating of the elements, and this it goes up to Shemayim, and it's being described as a chariot of fire, and horses of fire. Those are sort of symbols. But the way Elisha perceived it, or it's the way the Torah is describing it, but it was something of, I don't know, something different. And so normally a person dies, and that's the person dies, and he goes into the ground, and the earthliness like decomposes into the ground, and the elements separate out that way, you know. But here it happened while he was alive. It's okay. So I'm just giving you the outer tips of the iceberg of this deep stuff. What I could pull away from it. So he didn't really die. It's like, and they're not going to be able to find the body also. They go there to look for the body. There is none. So because it just sort of, I don't know, just disintegrated and the elements split apart or something. I'm telling you what I understand. So it's really cool. So he was on the highest level in a certain sense. In some ways, it's more than Moshe, it seems like. As far as his ability to, his purification of himself in this world and separation from the physical elements of the world. He did a lot of like, okay. They say that the later generations are like midgets on the shoulders of giants, on the shoulders of giants. So maybe that's why he got to this level. He was already, going further with all the accomplishments of the previous tzaddikim. Okay, going further. For Elisha, Roa v'hu mitzaek, Avi rechav Yisrael, ufarashav, lo ra'ahu od, v'yachazek b'vagadav, v'yakraim, v'shnaim kraim. So Elisha saw that there was something. He saw this thing going on, and he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel, the one who's the vehicle for bringing down the holiness to Israel, uparashav, and his riders, v'lo ra'ahu od. He didn't see him anymore. He disappeared. Eliyahu disappeared. V'yachazek b'vagadav. He took hold of his clothing, Elisha, and he ripped him, because you're supposed to tear kriya, it's called, for a Rebbe, and so he did that. That's the Avelut, that's the mourning. V'yarem et haderet Eliyahu asher nafla mi'alav. He picked up the cape of Eliyahu, which had fallen off of Eliyahu. V'yashav yamod al sfat haYordan. He went and stood on the Jordan River, the border, on the bank of the river. V'kach et haderet Eliyahu asher nafla mi'alav v'yakeh et hamayim. So he took the cape of Eliyahu. He wanted to see if he had the double spirit, if he had also Eliyahu's spirit to do this. So he took it and he struck it on the water. Yomer ayeh Hashem Elokei Eliyahu. Where's Hashem, the God of Eliyahu? Afu. Also Eliyahu. In other words, it's me and it's Eliyahu here now. And we're beseeching the waters apart. So I have this capability also. Do I have this capability? So he beseeches him that he should be able to, that it should come down to him what he was seeking, the double spirit. V'yakeh et hamayim v'yachetzu heina v'heina v'yavor Elisha. And he struck the water, and they divided, and Elisha passed through. Yeah. Vayiru b'nei Nevim asher bricho mineged v'yamu nacha ruach Eliyahu Elisha gavo lekrato v'ishtakavu lo arza. They saw that the spirit of Eliyahu had come down onto Elisha, and they bowed down to him. They made him their leader. Yeah. So that's the end of that parsha. So you see that the spirit of Eliyahu had come down into the spirit of Elisha. He had a double spirit. The Gemara says that he did twice the miracles. If you count out the miracles that he did twice as many miracles as Eliyahu. We'll see that as we go.
Elijah's
Earlier was there's a much bigger prophet. Maybe because the way he didn't die.
I'm not sure. He was the Rebbe. That's why he was the Rebbe, and Elisha was the Talmud. So in certain ones, the Rebbe is the koach, is the force of everything. That's why Rabbi Nachman says this. That the Rebbe is the one behind everything, but the Talmud could become even bigger because he could build from his own spirit and from the Rebbe's spirit. So the Talmud could potentially become even bigger. And so in a certain sense, he was, even though it's all attributed to the Rebbe. Okay, we'll stop here. Good.